The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the first day of May 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, and Lindos. I'm Jamel Hartman. She's Sherry Vanderpool, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Happy Monday, Sister Sherry.
Oh, being so pleasant on air. Okay. Happy Monday, Jamal. I'll go along with it. Happy Monday.
Was I not being pleasant off here?
No. But that's, I'm so used to it. I'm just like, okay.
Oh.
That's
okay.
how you treat me.
I mean, we're polar opposites, folks. I mean, I always say Monday is my favorite day of the week, and people always think I'm lying or I'm joking. I'm like, no, I enjoy it. I do, because I'm excited for I'm about to accomplish that week. Now, don't get me wrong. Saying Monday is my favorite day of the week doesn't mean I don't love weekends. I mean, for me, see, Sherry and I is different. For me, I already tell you I'm polar opposites. But for me, weekends can be very frustrating because that's when my sports teams play. But I just want to let you all know, once a Florida Panther, always a Panther. And my Florida Panthers, professional NHL hockey team I worked for. Yep. They just took out last night, came back from 3 games to 1 down, and took out the Boston Bruins in the first round. Hold on, it gets better. Boston Bruins, greatest team ever. Great regular season. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We did it in overtime last night. Now, if you missed it, you heard of Jimmy Buckets. You know who Jimmy Buckets is, Sherry?
Buckets? Not Jimmy Buffett. Okay, no.
No, we're talking basketball now. We're talking sports.
I know.
Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy Butler, Miami Heat. So what that means is Miami Heat, another South Florida team, took out the number 1 Bucks. What I'm trying to say, folks, your boy, he just takes this good luck with the sports charm where he goes. He takes this good luck with him, and South Florida's represent. You didn't see in the NCAA how Florida Atlantic Owls went to the Final Four. You didn't see how University of Miami went to the Final Four. This is all me.
Okay. Woo! I'm excited for you, Jamal. This is so awesome. Do you miss being with the Florida Panthers? Because that was like, sports and stuff is your thing.
I don't miss the commute. It was quite.
But it was good parks in it.
But I do miss it. I don't miss much because I feel like we have these times in our life we enjoy and then we build on them. But I will say I haven't been to a hockey game since. So going to the hockey games and engaging with fans, it's a crazy environment. And folks, if you've ever been to a professional sports event, you know that one of the greatest things is not necessarily the game. Sometimes it's the experience. But I do miss the regular experience of engaging fans. But yeah, I think it's time for me to get out and start going to some sporting events other than just horse events now, right?
Yeah, you got us in. You still got a little pool, or like what kind of level did you leave?
You know what? Is my former CEO's birthday yesterday, right? I'm like, yeah, they won it for him. I said I should send him a little message. Say, look, we got you a little birthday gift. You want to share the wealth? But I should have sent him a message, actually. Friendly guy. But I should reach out. I know some people, Sherry.
Okay. Well, I had, pretty decent weekend. Not too bad. My guest left on Saturday, so I just really recovered all weekend. Like
You seem happy
slept.
about your guest leaving, Sherry. You want to
No,
talk
I
about
wasn't happy about it. I was actually sad. It was my
it?
first house guest, and I was actually sad, and it was one of
Mm.
my best friends. But I was tired. You
Oh,
know, yeah.
oh, Sherry.
You know when you have house guests, it's
No, I don't get host guy. Ain't nobody visit me, Sherry. Nobody.
you're right. Nobody ain't trying to come see you, Jamal.
No, ain't nobody
I
comes see me.
agree.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
agree.
enough about her. Good morning to you, Tanya Cheeseman. Good morning to you, Karen Simmons. Says, good morning, TDH. It was great to see Larry and Phil with their families and Sancha getting our grease on at the egg shop. What was she eating, Karen? Let us all know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
let
when
us
I
all know.
posted my little treat, she was like, Sherry, I want to be the voice of reason. So I hope
Yeah.
you were the voice of reason for her, Karen.
Yeah. Shanna Smith says Jimmy Butler. Yeah, she said Buffett, folks. I mean, like,
Well, I was just making sure. I was
she's
like, I
just
know
thinking
in
about
sports.
Margaritaville. She's thinking Margaritaville. Sean DeTeal says, last I checked, you was St. George's fan, sir. Um, 2 days of the year, brother. 2 days of the year. Philip Trott says, once a Florida Panther, always a Florida Panther. That's more loyal than you've been to United, but let me go mind my business. You scholars,
Oh,
got a couple of victories and you think that you can enter the sports conversation again. I tell you. But see,
yes,
the difference
Phil.
between Man United and Florida Panthers, Man United never hired me. I supported them. Florida
Oh,
Panthers hired me. So,
Lord.
I mean, I guess I'm a lifelong fan in that respect. Anyway, folks, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Eugene Dean on the show. We're discussing the post-COVID world. So a lot to discuss. I know people have been asking, oh, what's the latest with the court case and what's going on? So Eugene Dean is here to answer a lot of your questions and engage the audience on what's happening. The daily play is, well, who said it, Sherry? Who said it? Yeah. This is, yeah. Sanjay, I think, does pretty well at this, or not. Don't forget to subscribe on our
Still
website,
come for her.
thedailyhour.com, and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Folks, if you don't follow us on, what's it called? The picture one. Instagram, make sure you do
Instagram.
that because that's where we engage the most in terms of asking questions and so on. Also, help us grow beyond the mic as we continue to do our part to improve our community. Now, we are celebrating 3 years of this show this week. So what that means is we spoke to our title sponsor, the BAC group of companies. They're having a big sale, some sales on air conditioners, right? Folks, you don't want to miss these sales. And we're going to be helping some of you win some cash towards a new AC on Thursday. So we're going to be doing some giveaways and maybe a little announcement, Maya, I don't know if she's giving me permission to announce, so I'll have to ask Sherry backstage if I can get permission from her. But we may have an announcement or two that may help
Oh,
some of you who are not able to watch every day. You may be able to listen. So stick with us. Thursday, we'll have some things for you. All right. But Sherry, we have a question for the audience. Very light because
okay.
we'll try to bring Eugene in to get as much conversation in as possible. But a lot of talk about the celebrity golf event this weekend. First off, hats off to all those involved. I know Maya actually was involved in a conversation with two black golfers, to the BTA folks who were behind it and put all that work in to make it happen. I don't know logistics, so please don't ask me. But what I will say is, my hope is when events like this happen, there's a measuring stick to show the people of Bermuda that it wasn't just a party, it wasn't just an event, but this is what we're getting out of it. And I've said for years, and I think it was Burpa I was speaking to, Larry Marshall Jr. yesterday, that I think for years marketing has gotten away with so much. And I'm not talking about Bermuda. I'm talking about when you think about sales and marketing, the easiest job to measure is a sales job.
Yeah.
Marketing has always gotten away with so fluff, in my opinion. And no disrespect to marketers, but sales is actually more measurable than marketing. Why? Because we can say things like, think about the America's Cup. Oh, we got $300 million worth of coverage. That
Mm.
$300 million worth of coverage doesn't mean that we're going to get $300 million worth of tourism, right? Because we spent that or we got this coverage for free. It's all about the call to action. So I feel like it's easy for marketing to say, oh, we grew our social media to this number. Okay, we have that number. How many are dead accounts? How many are are engaging because of our
But
content, and how many of them are actually spending dollars with us. So all that to say, the question of the morning is, how can Bermuda capitalize on the Black Celebrity Golf event? Again, from what I saw, I wasn't in attendance. Some of you were. It looks like an event that people, Bermudians, were impressed with. They got to engage. They got to hang out with people. But how can Bermuda as an island capitalize on it? And I'll go through some of the responses on Instagram. But how about you, Sherry? Any ideas? How can we capitalize on the Black Celebrity Golf event?
um, how many events did they have, Jamal? Do you know?
Private or public?
Ah, interesting. Public.
Well, I know that Maya, the thing that Maya did, she had a chat. I'm not sure if that was public or not. And yeah, it was public. And then they had an event on, was it Thursday night at Ocean View, which I
Okay.
think you needed tickets to. They had another event on Friday night, I believe.
Right.
And obviously they played some golf, right?
Right.
You know.
I mean, for me, it's like to be able to capitalize and be able to do more, you have to involve the community and be out there just a little bit more, especially if we want a return on what it is that we presented to the island. And I don't know much about golf like that, to be honest. So to have maybe had their presence in the community just a tad more. Um, and I'd be interested to know what the private events were.
Mm. Well, I mean, I think, and let me just, because I think the question was a bit confusing on our Instagram based on some of the responses. How can we capitalize on the Black event? So it's almost like saying, how can we capitalize on Cop Match, right? How can we make
Hmm.
Cop Match? Mind you, I don't believe we should be selling Cop Match to tourists, by the way. I just,
Yeah,
my personal opinion. But if we were, how can we capitalize on, how could we make it a better event? So how can we capitalize on the Black Celebrity Golf event is, how can we utilize this event to drive more tourism? That's basically the question. How can we use this
yeah.
event to drive more tourism? Let's go through some of the responses. Someone said, I'm not sure if the celebrities are not required to post footage multiple times. I don't understand what that means. Someone said,
Well,
the company sponsoring should probably send their Black staff. Interesting. So I'm guessing sponsors of the event, they may have Black staff, but they didn't. They had the white people enjoying the festivities. Is that what we mean?
hmm.
I'm not quite sure. And then, so how can we Bermuda capitalize on the Black Celebrity Golf event? Someone says require them to post to social media. Interesting. Do you? So let's say you start. Let's say you start a business, right? And
Hmm.
people are enjoying Sherry and Jamel's ice cream, right? And they're buying your ice cream. Do we expect everyone who buys and enjoys our ice cream to post it on social media?
In this day and time, yeah, you would expect some social media presence in regard to um, just putting it out there. So I tend to agree a little bit with that because I didn't really see much footage or marketing or anything about
No, but you're
Black
getting away from
golfers.
what I was asking, because I'm gonna put something right back on you.
Well, come
because
on.
because you said in this day and age, Sherry, I just bought some damn shirts from Target. You think I'm getting on social media to show off this shirt from Target? I just bought a
Most
$200
people
shirt
do.
from Robert
Most people
Graham. You think
do.
most people don't? People in image do. I don't think most people. We're talking. Most people would be 51% of people. The majority of this world does
Jamal.
not post that they're getting
Yes,
something.
they do. Yes, they do. You're
I
not on
guarantee you.
Instagram like that.
No,
And
but
I
that's the
see
thing. The
Target
majority of
holes.
the world's
I
not on Instagram, though, Sherry.
I see Target holes all the time
No,
on
but
with
you
regular
said the
people.
majority. I'm not on Instagram. The majority of the world's not on Instagram. So
I
that
disagree.
makes you're disagreeing with fact. That's not the
Yeah, I
thing.
could still disagree.
No,
I
how
disagree
do you
with
disagree with a fact? If
I
it's raining outside and I say, but Sherry, it's raining, and you say I disagree, you're disagreeing with a fact.
I disagree with your presence in social media and what it is that you look at and what it is that I
But it's not
see
about what I
is
look like and what you see. That's what
but
I'm
I'm
saying.
telling you what I see.
No, but okay. Let me bring it back. It's not about what I think or what you see or what I see and what you think. Facts. You can't dispute facts. That's what I'm simply saying to you. You said the majority of people are on Instagram. No,
Hmm.
they're not. That's a
Yeah.
fact. That's a fact. The majority of people aren't on Instagram.
Well, what
That
are they on, Jamal?
the majority of the world's not on social media. Half of the world can't even use Instagram and Facebook.
Social media has a presence, and people do post
I'm
regular
not disputing
stuff.
that. You said
Okay,
majority. I'm disputing majority.
let's
You
go
said
with
majority.
that. So, and
Um,
then your question behind that is, am I going to do a target? Yes, a lot of people do
a
target
lot of people
polls.
do. I'm not. I never
Okay,
disputed
and
that.
I
You
see
said
that.
majority. You said
Okay, but
majority,
my point is, I see it, and so do other people.
and
So,
that's fine. That's
okay,
fine.
so
But what
continue
we
with
have to be
that.
clear, we have to be clear on this platform because we have viewers. We
Hmm.
have to be clear that what we're not going to do is use words like majority when that's just not true. That's my only point to you right now. Is you said the majority of people do. That wouldn't be true. I'm just saying.
I still
I'm not
disagree with
disputing what
that.
you say, that what you see, that's what you see, but I'm not quite sure the majority would do that. That's all I was saying. I'm not disputing what you see. Sean DeShield says a positive impact can occur if direct, meaningful relationships with the Black celebrities who attended are established. I think that is extremely valid. But how do you do that, Sean? How do you how can you how do they develop those meaningful relationships with the Black celebrities who attended and are established? Do they take pictures and tag them? Is it the responsibility of the celebrity to tag that? Paul Carrick Brunson, he said it. You have somebody on your podcast, on your show, it's not their responsibility to tag or write about them coming on your show. If they do, that's a bonus, but they don't have to. That's not part of the deal. You're not paying them for that. That's,
Who
I think, the point. Go ahead.
who were the celebrities that were there? In all honesty, I only saw, as far as outside of golf, Terrell Owens.
I got the list. Anthony Anderson.
Oh,
Um, damn it, I had the list. And folks, forgive me, I have the list, but I know Anthony Anderson, Terrell Owens was one. Um, help us out, folks. Help us out. I wish I knew you were going to ask that. I would have brought up the list.
sorry, I didn't
Um,
mean to do that to you.
sure you didn't. Who was it? Help
I
us
didn't
out,
know.
folks. Help us out. It was. I have the list. Anthony Pete says, "Did they, the golfers, do a school tour? One way to motivate young people is to attend assemblies or put on an event." Hmm. I remember
Presents.
when we were in school, they used to do stuff like that, right? If celebrities came, they would come out. Yes. Don't call him Ron Artest. Meta World Peace was on the list to attend. Whether or not he
Hmm.
did attend, I'm not sure. Some more responses from Instagram. How can Bermuda capitalize on the Black Celebrity Golf event? Have more of these tournaments and events. Okay. Do we know if there was a cost to it? Can we afford to have more events? I don't mind the suggestion. Another person says their publicists should have been with them to post all activities on social media. Some of these celebrities might ask for cost. I mean, the influencer, they ask for cost for these things. So are we willing to pay for that? Right? Are we willing to pay a
Hmm.
Meta World Peace or an Anthony Anderson for that kind of coverage? Is it something that we're interested in doing?
Because I think that, of course, is another level to social media presence. Now they want everyone must be paid for what it is that they do.
Oh, indeed. And I mean,
Hmm.
fair enough. I mean, if it's your platform, you have that right to say, well, look, what's Cristiano Ronaldo? What he charges $1 million a post or something? I read somewhere. I was like,
Really?
my goodness. I mean, brothers found a way. Someone says, how about amplifying intentional or local Black professional golfers? Well, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they may have included them. Maybe not in the way that some of you may agree, but I think they were. Someone says offer a clinic for young athletes to get them interested, publicize more overseas. How do we know it wasn't publicized overseas?
Hmm.
And again, I'm playing devil's advocate on a lot of this stuff, folks, because I think a conversation like this, number one, I'm happy that we got these kind of people to Bermuda. Now it's how do we capitalize? You know how they say you get them in the door. Now how do we build on it and make sure they come back on, and bring others with them? That's the idea, right?
And that was the question, and I don't feel like everyone has answered that question in its entirety. You know what
That's
I
it.
mean?
Yeah, that's it, Sherry. Like how do we capitalize on it? How do we now build on this and get them to come back and bring people with them, or encourage more people to do what they do? I mean, Turks and Caicos, that's where all the Black celebrities are heading right now, right? In my opinion, they do something right that we're not doing. What that is, I'm still trying to figure out. Maybe it's because they have all locals in their spaces. Invite channels like Revolt TV and BET Plus to the next event. Okay, fair.
Okay.
I think those responses are fair. Let's
Exposure.
Sean DeShield says networking with their PR agent, seeking commitments from them to return with other celebrities, getting them to promote the event within their circles. Sam Cat Place says the event was a BTA thing. Usually those are movers and shaker type of events, and golf isn't exactly a sport that Blacks are really into. So there's two strikes in capitalizing right there. I think Maya may have something to say about that. She did something. She's been speaking with a lot of Black golfers lately. Traditionally, I would agree with you, Sam Cat Place. I just don't know the numbers in Bermuda. Like, I know Larry's taken up golf for the last 3 or 4 years. OJ was here. OJ pitcher just recently. We've had Quentin Sherlock on this year. Kamiko Smith. So I think it's, Daniel Augustus. I think it's changing, but I take your point. I do take your point, honestly. Let's bring Maya in for the news break. We have Eugene Dean coming up, folks. Do not go anywhere. This is we haven't had Eugene on in a while, and we know he comes with his information. We know he comes with a lot of information, and it should be an engaging conversation. We haven't spoken about the COVID pandemic a lot over the last probably 6 months to a year, but it's not over for a lot of people. And, we have a responsibility as the media. Well, we'll talk about that as well, but I'm very interested in having Eugene back. And if we don't get through everything today, he knows, although he hasn't been on in a while, that the door is wide open to continue the conversation another time. But let's bring Maya Palacio in. And she was part of the golf event. Maybe she has an idea on how to build on it going forward, or not. She may keep her things to herself because, she's what's that? The nano influence, whatever. She's micro something influencer. She might charge for her info, folks. She ain't giving nothing free. She's a businesswoman. All right, stick with us.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, madam. How are you?
I'm pretty decent. Not gonna complain.
Okay. All right.
Stuff.
For free. What do you think? You had quite the experience this weekend. You interviewed 2 Black golfers. You've had chats with Kamiko Smith lately. What would you say, looking at the event this weekend, that Bermuda can do to build on the Black celebrity golf event?
Honestly, I have not given it a lot of thought because I was more focused on my part in the event, not really being the marketing person to make people come to the event, I guess you could say. But I would say that there was definitely a large turnout for the parties, but I was a little disappointed in not so much people that showed up for the forum. There was a lot of people that RSVP, but people didn't show up. I don't know if it's because it was kind of early, like 9 a.m. is kind of an early time, but also if you're playing golf, 9 a.m. is not that early. If you're a golfer. But for the crowd that was there, it was very, very engaging. I was still very happy with what people there wanted to say or had questions to say, and the athletes themselves were very pleased with the questions and everything in general. So I guess the only thing I would say is more posting, because I didn't necessarily see it on some people's ends. Yeah, I know that they did actually reach out to each sport individually about the event and the forum happening, different clubs on the island, which I thought was very smart to do, because again, when you support different sports, supporting each other can benefit each other. Try not to see what you can do for golf, but honestly what golf can do for you and your sport. because it's obviously got money in that sport. So why not be connected with it? Like, so that's what I was hoping to see other sports clubs there, but I didn't see any representation of any other sport club.
So use golf. You use golf to help grow it. What your interests are too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Good stuff. What you got in the news break today, Madame?
Well, starting out with the news break this morning, it is now entering the 3rd year of the murder investigation for Chevelle Dylan Burgess. I'm just going to put this photo up here for you guys to see. So we got a message over the weekend from the police saying, while a suspect has been arrested and charged in court in relation to this matter, investigations remain keen on speaking with anyone who may have any knowledge of Chevelle's whereabouts between the 11th and 30th of April in 2022. So Detective Inspector Jason Smith, who is leading the investigation, reminded everyone that Chevelle's son, who is now only 3.5 years, will never know what it means to experience a love from a mother while growing up. Her own mother, with whom she shared an extremely close relationship, continues to mourn her loss, a loss made even more difficult by the fact that she has no idea what happened to her daughter, whose remains are yet to be recovered as well. And I also want to bring up this message that I had posted on April 11th there about the last time anyone close to Chevelle Dylan Burgess had contacted her was on April 11th. And according to Detective Inspector Jason Smith, in an interview with the World Gazette in May of 2022, Chevelle's murder case is very rare. It is the first case in Bermuda where there has been no body homicide investigation. In the same interview, Inspector Jason Smith said, there were cases where 15 to 20 years has passed and remains were found, so it is still hopeful that her body will still be found.
Sad.
Very sad situation. And, I think, it's one thing and you all can say it's TV, but it's real life. If it's one thing with situations like this, if someone has committed such an heinous act, they don't keep it to themselves. And I think the police are really relying on that one person who knows something to just say something, not for you, but for her son, for her mother.
Yeah.
And put yourself in that situation.
Sad.
Very much so sad indeed. Up next on the news, last Thursday, there was a PTA meeting with a bunch of the PTA leads and just community members, persons who are parents or guardians of different schools, as they came together to talk about the issue of education on the island, whether it be the transformation of the new schools and also the response that they've heard from the Minister of Education from an old video. Well, here's a quick clip, just giving you a recap of what happened at that meeting.
All Bermudians are not dormant. We're not asleep anymore. You're not going to just do what you want to do and just think it's okay and walk away. You need to have full, straight up, strong consultation with us in order for you to make changes to any type of curriculums for our children. That's just up and down. And for anything else that we do as a societal government, where we pay y'all. That's where we're at. We voted you in. Now you're going to do what we ask you to do in a matter of which makes sense.
What was most impactful was the fact that people were together and they were concerned about education. They were concerned about the process, lack of transparency, and that their input was not valued or respected. They were concerned about the transition without a plan, with measurable timelines, and they wanted to know how were those plans arrived at. In addition, I was surprised at the level of discontent in the leadership of education, that they actually said it, and that indicates to them that enough's enough. We have to be more engaged when it comes to educating our people and the next generation.
So it's not that we don't want reform, I think up until this point, a lot of the headlines have been around, particular schools, buildings, and maybe some might have felt that certain people don't want reform. Everybody in this room wants reform, but we just want to be a part of that process.
I would hope that he would feel our concerns and actually take that into consideration, because in recent times or things that have been developed, like, it doesn't really feel like the public is really being taken into consideration.
I would hope that he would understand that we're not asking to fight you. We're not asking for a fight. We're not asking we're not asking for him to bend down and pretend like everything that he's done is bad and horrible. We're asking for him to speak to us, to have some sort of dialogue, to give us some sort of transparency of what it is exactly he plans to do. Why are we doing this? What is the problem with what we have been doing, and why are we rushing to do it? Why are we rushing?
That we all have the same goal. We want the same thing, what's best for our children. Hopefully he could also take away an opportunity to pivot in how he approaches, sort of within his leadership style, to cultivate community. It may not be easy to receive the sort of criticisms that he's receiving, but it's an opportunity to learn and to grow and to really achieve the aims and the outcomes that you can when you're in a position like that. So don't take it as an attack. Don't take it as, an undoing of your character. That's not what it's about. It's listen, hear what people are saying, and then govern yourself accordingly so that we can all achieve what we want to achieve.
You're muted. Jamal, you're muted.
That's a good thing. Trust me. Has the Minister of Education responded as of today? Okay, I'll leave it at that.
There was another call from the OBA for him to resign recently, but that's
Okay.
about it.
Interesting piece, Maya. Thank you very much.
I look forward to his response so that I can throw my 2 cents in.
Okay. Well, up next on the news, just a reminder, the deadline has been extended for the 2023 Public Service Bursary Award. The deadline now is May 5th, 2023. Application forms are available at forms.gov.bm/bursary. As a reminder, the Public Service Bursary Awards provide funding to Bermudians pursuing post-academic qualifications in a discipline identified to meet future needs of government departments. This ensures a well-trained selection of individuals to fill positions within the public service.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And a story that came in from the Gazette as well just this morning, a 19-year-old man who admitted stealing 16 items from a Hamilton service station was caught on camera.
Huh?
Okay.
A 19-year-old stole goods from a Hamilton gas station and was caught on camera and appeared in court.
I'm not going to make the joke that I was going to make. Okay. Hey, people are struggling. That's what I will say.
The value was, I believe, $61 as well.
People are struggling. I don't think everyone who steals is a bad person. Some people do it just to eat. I'm not excusing it, making excuses, but again, it's hard times, and I will not make the inappropriate joke on air. I'll tell Sherry after the show.
Well, closing up for you guys, the weather this morning is looking like cloudy, possible patchy mist, and also some rain and showers. So apparently may bring showers as well. And we have a high of 77 degrees Fahrenheit.
All righty. Thank you so much for that, Maya. Sherry, what day of the year it is?
It is Global Love Day, Jamal. So if you've been depressed lately about how the world's been looking, then there's a day made just for you to feel better. Global Love Day is a day about giving love to yourself and spreading love into the world. And it's also International Workers' Day. Just wanted to throw
International Work. There's a 2 good days. There's a 2 good days. And I know you all think I'm grumpy and stuff, but I love people. I just have a different way of showing it.
Okay.
Got you.
Okay.
What, you don't believe me? But why you like?
And Maya kind of sounded like she was just like agreeing with me, which is a big thing. So it's not just me. But anyway, thanks,
Wow.
Maya.
Maya, we'll see you
Sherry.
soon. Wow, I don't know what I do to deserve this. Folks, we got Eugene Dean coming up. Good conversation. Also, I just want to say a huge thank you. Look at our social media today on our Instagram page, because I forgot to play this earlier before Sherry and I's fight. And if you want to know why I'm salty, it's because she got more sugar than me, or special sugar, folks. Amani, thank you. We love you. We appreciate you, Amani. And folks, if you haven't tried Amani's Cookie Company,
I've been trying them all weekend.
Hmm.
You didn't get any cookies, Jamal?
Yeah, I got mine. Yeah, I got mine. Thank you.
I got an exclusive.
So Sherry, what's the exclusive? Hold on, we've got Eugene coming. He's coming. But what's this exclusive cookie you got, Sherry?
Am I allowed to say? I hope so. Amani, don't get mad if I. It's called the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, okay. All right, Sherry.
And I'm not going to tell you when it's going to come out.
No, we're going to get another argument today. I'm going to find something to fight with you about it. So stick with us, folks. Yeah, she got special cookies. It's just petty. I'm just going to say she's petty. She's petty. She's in videos. And anyway, stick with us. Eugene Dean's coming up. We're going to get some sense into the conversation. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's.
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field. Number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Sherry Vanderpool, myself, Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com, and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we continue to do our part to improve our community. If you are subscribed, you would have received an email last evening, probably only the second one of this year, and that email had some details in it as to, well, how you can have a chance to, well, what you need to do to have a chance to get in on the sales at the BAC Group. We've got some air conditioners on sale, folks. We want to help you stay cool this summer.
Nice.
You know, don't worry. When I go to Atlanta, I'll do something to Sherry's air conditioner. She'll be hot. Yeah, she'll be hot. No,
that is below the belt for the US.
So I folks, even if I want to, her better half, he knows what he's doing. He'll have that fixed in 2 minutes. That's right. Oh, I said better half. I meant other half. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
All right, folks, let's bring in our guest for the day. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to our brother Eugene Dean. Welcome. Oh wow, they're being crazy, Eugene. Gee.
Oh,
I didn't know you had that effect on them, brother.
Look at that skin. Skin's still glowing.
Greetings. How are you?
Good. It's been a while, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, apologies. I'm a little bit hoarse, but we'll give thanks.
I see you've been making the rounds. You've been back. You've been ensuring that people know that you have not gone anywhere. And though we're not shut down, there's still a lot of conversation to have. So thank you for coming back and having this conversation. As I said, it's been too long. And I believe, as I said on this show before, we have a responsibility to have these conversations, whether people agree or not. It's our responsibility to kind of dig deep and try to understand one another, especially when it comes to things of this nature. But for those who don't know, just tell the audience a bit about yourself, what it is that you do that connects you to the conversation of, and opposition to all that went on during COVID.
Well, yeah, greetings, everyone. I guess, most people know me because of my community activism. I've been involved in many different social and environmental movements. I'm also involved with audiovisual and entertainment. But I guess the key thing that connects me to this is that, over the past few years, it appears that I've been one of the few people who have regularly challenged the status quo narrative. And I'm a part of a group called CAST, the Collective Action Solidarity Trust, that was formed in January of last year. And our group holds the view that, many of the potentially excessive pandemic mandates and protocols cause, injury or harm to a wider cross section of people that was actually necessary, So in our group, we want to take steps to make sure that there's a comprehensive review of everything that went on. There's a lot of data and information that's been revealed of late as a result of a lot of things that's happened in the US and Europe, a lot of court cases that have caused data to come forward. And now, upon looking at that data, a lot of the things that were represented initially during the pandemic appear to have been misrepresented. And so that's something that needs to be looked at. People who made decisions need to be given the opportunity to explain why they did what they did, and if necessary, how they're accountable for any actions that caused unnecessary harm.
And that brings me to this because having fought for causes myself, most people look at it like, look, everything's behind us now. We're back to normal. Why are these lots still out there fighting about this? Just explain why what you're doing is so important still today.
Well, it's a bigger picture to this, and it's interesting because over the past few years, if you talked about some of these things, you were considered a conspiracy theorist, right? If you talked about people's rights and freedoms being taken away from them, then people were shutting you down, or you were censored and things of that nature. But these are realities. This pandemic captured just about all the agencies that have been put in place to protect people. Even when people talk about agencies like the FDA and the CDC that's in America, and these are huge organizations that are meant to be watchdogs, that are supposed to be looking out for the interests of people. And in many regards, the data that's coming out is showing that, they've actually facilitated things that have harmed people. So if we have all these organizations that are set up to protect people or defend the rights of people or ensure that people are safe, and at the end of the day, when we're in an emergency, those organizations don't play that role, then we need to really take a strong look at that. Obviously, we can't rely on those organizations, or if we're going to be able to rely on those organizations, they're going to have to be built from the ground up again, because at the moment, right, they haven't demonstrated that they're worthy of our trust. And I'll just use the Human Rights Commission as an example. Many people went to the Human Rights Commission over the past few years, and they were told that the Human Rights Commission has no authority as it relates to COVID, and that's pretty confusing, because people had a lot of challenges over these years. People have suffered a lot of harms, and you're going to an organization that you've been told is there for you, and all of a sudden they can't help. Even the police, I mean, all the organizations, you think about it, like everybody stood down. All the things that happened to our children during schools, it was facilitated by the Ministry of Education. And that's supposed to be the entity that's supposed to be looking out for our children. So if we're not able to trust these institutions, then who do we trust? Or how do we set up things to make sure that we never go through a situation like this again? And then the big elephant in the room now is that people have been harmed by these COVID products. These COVID injections is death rates are up all around the world. People are going blind. People are suffering like joint pain, muscle pain. People are, heart problems are going through the roof. People are catching shingles. People the immune systems have been compromised, and they get sick. Like the common cold is like a flu every time they get it, people have autoimmune problems, neurological problems, and nobody's really addressing that. Nobody's looking at it. And we still have a health department that comes out and telling you that these products are safe and effective, and they're still encouraging people to use them in spite of all the harms. So many people have died. And it's, you know, it's really gotten out of control. Yeah. The slide you have up now is like, you know, this is a statement that was made by a health minister in a recent, you know, press conference, saying there's some vaccine hesitancy and saying that it's largely driven by incorrect information through social media outlets, and saying all we can do is try to counter it by providing proper evidence-based information. Well, the community is still waiting for evidence-based information from the government because we haven't seen any, you know, and anytime you provide evidence-based information, it's dismissed. You know, I really wish the government was providing evidence for all the things that they have done, but they haven't. I remember coming on this show and asking Dr. Karika Weldon a question as she was meant to answer, and she never answered it. And that's been the case with everybody in the government all the way through. There's been no evidence to prove anything. And now that the data's come out, right, a lot of things that was questionable before is not a question anymore. So all the things that people were concerned about initially have come true, every single thing. And all the measures that were taken during the pandemic didn't work. Not a single one.
So real quickly, just let us know real quickly, Eugene, where can people find the data? Because I know people are going to say, well, where's the data? Where can they go and find this data themselves, so that they're assured that, oh, it's not just Eugene Dean's words?
Well, I think a lot of first of all, I'll say there's a lawyer in America named Aaron Siri, and he took the FDA to court. The FDA was asking for 75 years to release all the documentation that was shared between Pfizer and the FDA before they gave emergency use authorization and then full approval to Pfizer's products. You know, that court case allowed them, right, to release that information right now. And as a result, it's a lot of information that's come to the fore about that. So that's one thing that you can look at, you know. You can look up online. There's a lady named Naomi Wolf that's a journalist. And, you know, she is part of a group of about 3,500 health professionals that have been actually studying all the data that was released by Pfizer and the FDA and breaking it down and putting it into, you know, reports. I think it's about 50 something reports that they've put it into that any layperson can read to get the data. So the information is out there. It's actually all over the place. The congressional hearings, all this thing about a lab leak and stuff. I mean, people have straight up just said, you know, basically COVID was created, it's man-made, and it was released from a lab. You know, so all these things are coming out. Like I'm very thankful that we in America, they actually have an opposition. You know, that's something that we don't seem to have in Bermuda. We don't seem to have an opposition other than the community itself. But in America, you know, the Republicans, and people may decide that they don't agree with the Republicans for whatever reason. I'm just thankful, right, that they're actually challenging what's going on, because as a result, the truth is coming out. You know what I mean? I mean, you're seeing all sorts of going back on statements and stuff. Like, for example, I'll just show you this. Like, if you put up the slide I have, it was about Dr. Margarita Giselle. You know, she's somebody that the health department brought on board to do an online conference, you know, back in July of 2021. And she's from the Pan American Health Organization. She made a statement after going over the Pfizer and AstraZeneca products that neither one of these shots can cause COVID disease. It's impossible. It cannot do so. So both of these shots are perfectly safe when it comes to protecting you from COVID. And if you go to the next one, like Joe Biden, I mean, this is what everybody was saying. Joe Biden saying you are not going to get COVID if you have these shots. You know, then when you look at the actual data that's released from the CDC, this is in December of 2021. It's saying that, and it's not even complete. It's not even the data from all the states, that between April and November, more than 16,700 fully vaccinated people died, right? And you had almost 2 million breakthrough cases. So when you look now at the Pfizer documents that's been released, they never even started. They never even started transmission if the products prevent from transmission, but that's not what we were told. So my question to the community is, if all these things have been misrepresented and the data is now clearly showing that, then do we just leave it and go on like nothing happened?
I mean, Eugene, they've gone quiet on many things, but let me just do something real quickly, audience. Eugene, Sherry.
And opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients,
I know
or
that's
partners.
right.
I'm just saying,
Cover
brother.
us, Jamal. Cover us.
I'm gonna cover our asses, Eugene. I'm just saying. So
Yeah, I know.
we appreciate you do having this conversation, but we just know. But I appreciate it. And Sherry, go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't want to take up the entire convo. Go ahead.
No problem. But Eugene, what is post COVID-19 condition? I think people have heard of symptoms but don't know it as something in its entirety.
You mean long COVID?
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. So what's happened here is that, we've been told that the COVID products that were given were different from any other traditional vaccine, right? That traditional vaccines, you give an attenuated version of the actual virus for your body to respond to and build immunity. We were told that the spike protein was totally harmless, and that's why these products were so safe. Now, what the data has revealed is that the spike protein is actually the most harmful part of the virus. And the other thing is, the CDC said that the materials of the mRNA products stay in the injection site, which is the shoulder muscle, which is normally what happens with traditional vaccines. But the language used in the Pfizer documents, right, is that the spike proteins biodistribute through your body. So these things end up in your brain, your liver, your adrenals, your spleen. In women, they end up in the ovaries. And to date, no one is aware. I've asked several doctors, several scientists. No one is aware of any mechanism in the body that sees these materials released. Now, this spike protein is causing a number of problems in people lodged in different areas, and that's the thing that's potentially causing this long COVID scenario. Now, you can get it from catching COVID, or you can get it after having the shots. There was a study done, I think it was in Denmark, I know it was in Europe, and they took two cohorts of people who had COVID and people who didn't have COVID. And they found that the symptoms that are being called long COVID, right, showed up the same in both cohorts. So it's a very interesting scenario with this long COVID. Now, if you ask me personally, I feel like long COVID was thrown in the mix to disguise injuries and adverse effects from the shots. Because now everybody's been denying that. It's very interesting, this situation where the starting position is it's not the shot, so let's figure out what else it is.
Right.
And now long COVID becomes something that could be used to describe some of the symptoms that people are suffering.
Well, that kind of goes into my next part of the conversation, is what evidence exists that the vaccine has contributed to deaths and the health issues for people.
Well, I'll say this, right? 1 month after the rollout of the COVID jabs, Pfizer knew that the product had failed. They knew it was a fail of efficacy. And the third most common side effect, right, in their records was catching COVID. This is after 1 month. So this is like November 2020 that they noticed, right? Pfizer also in their documents state that they needed to hire 2,400 full-time staff to process paperwork associated with adverse events, right? In May of 2021, Pfizer knew that their products caused heart damage in 35 minors within a week of taking the injection. Now, all these documents have Pfizer and FDA confidential, which means the US government knew this as well. And the US government didn't tell parents until August, 4 months later, that there was an elevated risk of heart damage in healthy young adults. This is something that's been stated. This is something that everybody's clear about. Now cardiologists have been talking about this the whole time, but initially it was being denied. But the prevalence of this, right, it's been so many cases that they just had to agree with it. So the evidence is out there. I mean, in Bermuda, we showed a film at the theater for 3 weeks, and during the first screening, we had someone who came and they went blind in one eye after taking the shots. The second screening we had someone who's lost sight in both eyes after taking the shots. Cancers have gone through the roof. Shingles has gone through the roof. It's so people just have to look. If you look at the film Anecdotals, right? We were showing it in the theater. Now it's available on our website, jointhecast.org. Go on our website. It's available for free. You could watch the film, right? We met a filmmaker in Los Angeles. She took a shot of the Pfizer jab and she got injured, right? She started to suffer neurological problems. This is Jennifer Sharp, right? Now, not only did she suffer neurological problems, she also found that she got shut out from society. Nobody wanted to hear anything about her injuries. Nobody showed any compassion. She couldn't go to restaurants. She couldn't go to gyms because she hadn't had 2 shots. She couldn't attend funerals. She was losing jobs. She couldn't work. She had jobs, but then when they found out that she had only taken 1 shot and not 2, they would tell her that she couldn't work. So eventually she got to the point to say, you know what, right? I'm gonna need to make this film because while people are telling me my condition is rare, online, I'm in groups with thousands of people who are suffering just like me,
But Eugene,
so go ahead.
Yeah, folks, if you have any questions or comments, it isn't live engagement show. We'll get through as many as possible, and I do see a couple there we'll get to. But I've said this on this show recently. When you go into a sales presentation, you go in there ready to answer, not just present to the audience, but to answer objections through your presentation, right? And I have a couple of questions because I'm noticing the language. The language in particular is, things happening to people after they got the jab,
right?
But not saying these things happen because they got the jab, right? So, I guess what I'm trying to draw the conclusion, because I think Misha, I'm getting his name right one day. Misha Fubler says, but people who were not vaccinated also have long COVID. So I guess the evidence people are looking for is saying, well, I agree with you about Joe Biden's statement. I mean, that puzzled me for the longest. People were made to believe if they got the vaccination, they would not catch COVID. Let's be honest. Everyone can be honest about that. That's what everyone thought. It didn't happen that way. But then there are people that are saying, well, okay, yeah, there are people who got vaccinated that had these challenges, right? But there are people who didn't get vaccinated and got COVID and had these same challenges. So I think data-wise, is there data to show that more people, I guess, that got vaccinated had these symptoms because of the shot? That's what I think.
I'm not talking about long COVID. I said that there is no, right? I said about a study in Europe where they had 2 cohorts.
Right.
So there is no medical definition really for long COVID. You know, that's why I said, in my view, long COVID was thrown out there to kind of shift people away from the injuries. Now, if people want to see data, I'm telling you, watch the film Anecdotals, watch the film Safe and Effective. The filmmakers who made those films went into intense research and they reveal all the data in those films. It's very easy to be able to find. Now, and you're in a situation where you have groups of 10, 20, 30,000 people on social media, right? And then they find documentation in the Twitter files that says, right, censor true stories about vaccine adverse events. That's what's been revealed in the Twitter files.
And let me just add to that. I've heard stories in the media where they were told to do certain things when it came to COVID. So I don't think I think calling you or anyone who says this a conspiracy theorist is unfair. Knowing what I know, it's not just unfair; it's untrue. Many people in this space know that certain entities were told no negativity about COVID, no this, no that. This is not stuff made up, folks. Right? This is stuff that I'm sure some people will actually, in years to come, share certain things. Like, you know how texts come out later and emails come out later? Yeah. I'm pretty sure much will come out. So I don't want people sitting here like, oh no, but no, it happened. It really did happen. And so I think we need to take into consideration that we're dealing with situations where some people in the media space were directed to say certain things for the narrative that whatever it was they were trying to achieve. Go ahead, Sherry. Sorry.
So I was going to ask, many people are just happy the shutdowns and the days of 2020 and 2021 are behind us. So why should they care to fight on?
Well, see, the thing is, right, if you have a family member who died, right, after taking the shots, right, and the doctors in the hospital told you it was directly from the shots, right, then obviously you would be in a totally different situation. Most people have actually had that. We interviewed a family last week where it's in the documentation. They were actually flown overseas, ambulance out to get treatment. And their documentation is very clear of what caused the problems that they're still experiencing today. People died like within 2 days of taking the shots, right? I have a graph that's up there showing it. Like, people want data, just go to Open VAERS. Just go to the Open VAERS data. It's clear. On VAERS, right, you've had over 35,000 deaths reported. And VAERS only generally statistically represents about 1 to 10% of actual cases, right? Rollouts have been shut down in the past for 15 deaths. So why are we looking at safety signals? Miscarriages, right? Almost 5,000 reported. Myocarditis is almost 30,000 cases reported, right? Hospitalizations, almost 200,000. So the data is all over the place. The challenge is that the media has stuck to the narrative. We're still censored, right? Bermuda Broadcasting Company will not release anything that we say. Burn News will not release anything that we say, right? Royal Gazette has been censoring us. Only recently they started to selectively release some of the things that we prepare. But this is a good slide, right? Put that back up, please, Jamel, right? This is one of the key things. In the Pfizer trials, women were told not to get pregnant, which is interesting because this is a respiratory pathogen. Why are they concerned about people getting pregnant, right? Nonetheless, in their trials, 270 women actually got pregnant. Pfizer lost the records of 234 of those pregnant women. That's illegal, right? That's actually illegal. Now, of the 36 women whose pregnancies came to term, right, over 80% of them lost their babies due to spontaneous abortion or miscarriage. This is the type of data that's available. So it's not even a question anymore. People who are not aware of this, right, are not looking for it. because you have to look for it, because the traditional media is not telling you this. They've already been bought, you know?
Well,
And it's
could it be a
hard because
case? Could it be a case? And again, I mean, look, I say it all the time that numbers may not lie, but they can definitely help anyone tell the story that they want to portray. Right? Let's be honest. We can it happens in politics all the time. Two different political parties use the exact same numbers to tell very different stories and different perspectives. You know, when I think of data, we spoke about this right before you came on, right? In terms of tourism data, right? Tourist data and marketing, right? We said marketing that for me, for years and ages, marketing departments and marketing people have gotten away with, oh, we have grown our social media account by this amount. Okay, well, how does that equate to dollars that are coming in? A lot of stuff has not been truly measurable, regardless of how they tell you. So I just want to like hone in on the data, and I think we have a question from the audience. Misha Fublis, and how you pronounce that? Veris is an open access site. Anyone can submit reports. Given the politicization of the pandemic and the response to it, how do we verify the accuracy of that system?
that system is not just open where people can report stuff and it just goes up, right? That system was put in place by the US government, and there are full-time people who review every single submission and only make available the submissions that they approve. So this is not like an unmonitored site. It's not like somebody just sent around a petition or a form like a Google Doc and people upload it. You know, it's a proper system that was designed to throw up safety signals for medical rollouts. The challenge is not the system. The challenge is the fact that in this instance, right, which is different from every other instance, the safety signals are being ignored, right? And Jamal, if you're able to put up the slide with the VAERS data where it says all deaths reported by VAERS by year, right? Then this is, you can see the extent of the difference of what happened. No, the next one. I'm sorry, the one before that. The one before the one you threw up. Yeah, there we go. Now, this is showing adverse events from 1960s. You see how low that is. That's adverse events all the way up to 2020. In 2021, when you had the rollouts, look at the difference. That's unprecedented. Now, I would ask anybody, if you're looking at that, right, what do you take from it? Is that something that we should ignore?
Another interesting question from the audience, because I know Dr. Karika Weldon has started a company and they're looking into stuff like this. But Karen Simmons asking, I don't know if there's a difference of the effects on varying populations. Have there been any studies and data specifically on the Black population? Now, you mentioned Europe, right? Have there been studies on people like us and how the vaccine may impact us versus others? Do we have any data on that?
Well, we interviewed during the pandemic Dr. Christina Parks. She's got a PhD in cellular and molecular biology, and that's something that she actually focuses on. And we also, when we premiered the film Anecdotals at Specialty Cinema, we had a live panel discussion afterwards that included the filmmaker, Dr. Christina Parks, and two members of the cast from the film, both who were injured by taking the jabs. And she talks a lot about that. And you can look online. She has some videos on YouTube where she talks about the elevated risk for Black people, which is why Black people were far more hesitant in terms of taking the jabs in the first place, you know. But there is medical evidence. Now, as it relates to COVID in particular, this is what the challenge is, right? One of the people who we had in our panel discussion is actually a research doctor who was actually involved in some of the Pfizer trials, right? He's now been injured. His injury is like, you know, that he would fill up a few pages to list all the things he suffered ever since he took the shots. And his description in that panel discussion was that people have been left like roadkill. There's no medical treatment for you. There's no research for you. Nobody cares about you, right? There is no funding to support you. So people are injured, right? They're broke. They had to spend their life savings trying to get medical treatments themselves. And nobody cares. Most people are denying it. People are even being told that they're mentally ill. They don't have physical problems, that they're mentally ill. And this is happening in Bermuda too. I personally get phone calls from people who are like, can you find me a doctor who would at least listen to what I'm experiencing? Because everybody just keeps denying that this has anything to do with the shots, and they're not even paying attention to what I'm suffering.
The unfortunate part is, the time, the fortunate part is we have sponsors that we have to pay bills with. But I just want to ask you before we head out, I don't deny that there are people, I mean, regardless of what we do in life, I mean, there are people going to have bad side effects from eating fried food, whereas others, they may be able to eat it and nothing happen. So I don't doubt that someone or many people may have had side effects from the shot. But there's also people who haven't.
Yeah.
How do you convince those who haven't had any side effects that this is real, that person who may be experiencing something from the COVID shots, the vaccine, is they didn't have a, what they say, pre-existing condition? Like, there are a lot of people who had them and they just have not had side effects. Like, I think that's the battle in terms of convincing that. So that question, and also there are people that want to know the latest on the case, because it seemed to have gone quiet with the Sophia Kennedy and Mike Watson.
Right.
But if you can do that in the most concise manner, because we do have to go.
No problem. Well, the first thing I'll say is that, right, I think everybody should ask themselves why nobody seems to have any compassion for anybody who's been injured by the shots. Because if you tell somebody you got cancer or any other illness, right, people show a whole lot of compassion. People will raise funds for you, run marathons for you, anything to help you. But with this, somehow everybody's hell-bent on denying that it has anything to do with these COVID products, which is very interesting. It's very interesting. You know, this never happened before, right? So I think that's what people need to be thinking about, rather than worrying about what, since when does somebody have to prove that they're injured? That never happened before. And if you talk about people with pre-existing conditions, what happened to all those top athletes that have been passing out on fields all around the world, all different sports, basketball, football, NFL, you know, it's all been happening. Tennis, right? This is facts. People passing out on podiums. These are real videos of people passing out. So I don't know why people are needing proof, because nobody needs proof. If somebody says that they got breast cancer or something else, nobody asks them to prove it. They just help them. So I think we should find our humanity and help people, rather than going through all this business of asking people to prove that they're sick. Right now, as it relates to the case is being dragged on. The government has been dragging it on. Actually, Sophia and Michael are back in court soon again, but it was another delay because of some other case, and it got pushed back even further. So now they're back into this month. And now what's interesting is Sophia is now facing another case because of, you know, it's really discrimination. But she had a client who had their children in her camps. And soon as her court case thing came up, that person decided that, you know, they didn't want their children to be around Sophia anymore. I guess because, you know, she's considered a bad citizen for taking the position that she has. And she had a no refund policy, which was stated and made very clear when people engaged in her program. And this person is taking her to court to try to get their money back. You know, so the case is morphing off into other things, and the family is having to suffer all sorts of other challenges as a result of the case being prolonged now for like 2 years. You know, so it's definitely still going on, and they feel it. We have Dr. Peter McCullough Dr. Christina Parks and Dr. Paul Alexander, overseas experts that are ready to testify, because their local doctor, Dr. Darlin, was told in court that he's not fit to represent their case somehow, even though the government has told people throughout the whole pandemic to go and consult your physician. But now all of a sudden, their physician is not qualified enough to testify. So that's the update on the case.
Interesting stuff. Eugene, how can people get in touch with you to learn more, request some of the data and information that you've been sharing?
Well, go to our website, jointhecast.org, and you can join our community, get on our mailing list, or you can email us at info@jointhecast.org. We're doing a lot of positive work. The film we're showing on anecdotals is helped to start a conversation of people who have been injured by these shots. And we also just recently raised funds and sent 2 doctors overseas to the FLCCC conference, which was in Fort Worth, Texas last weekend. And it was focused on emerging approaches to treating spike protein-induced diseases, which is what everybody's talking about.
Yes, I saw Dr. Amani Flood, who's a good friend of this show. She was out there. We have to run, though. Honestly, Eugene, thank you so much. We can definitely continue another time, but thank you. Always a pleasure to have you sharing the information that you have, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right.
Peace and love.
All right. Eugene Dean, folks, if you appreciated the conversation, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We've got to take a quick break. We will be right back to wrap it up. Stick with us.
Bermuda, get ready for the official summer starter. DJ Rusty G presents Flag Invasion. I have a big flag. A Sunset Edition. Much more than just a party. This is an outdoor festival happening Saturday, May 20th at Port St. Catherine. Doors open at 6 p.m. 3 stages. One epic event featuring an all-star lineup of international entertainers. DJ Rusty G.
Yo, Rusty G here, inviting everybody out to Fort St. Catherine. It's gonna be crazy.
Just Jay.
Yo, what's up, Bermuda? This is Just Jay from Barbados. May 20th, I will be on your shores. It's all about Flag Invasion.
Ricky Platinum.
Yo, hear me say no. From here, the voice, you don't know, so Ricky Platinum at top. Bermuda, May the 20th, Ricky Platinum live.
DJ Quest.
Yo, Bermuda, check you. DJ Quest from the 268 Antigua. I'll be there May 20th for Flag Invasion.
Shep Beats.
Yo, what up, Bermuda? This is DJ Shep Beats, the London Governor out of Barbados. See you guys real soon at Flag Invasion.
And Fire Wayne.
Yo, it's your boy Fire Wayne. Flag Invasion, I'll be there.
Also featuring Bermuda's finest DJs, Mr. Genius, DJ iBreeze, Marky T, Young Gun Sound, DJ Maestro, Jim Brown, Corey Miners, E.T. Flavor, DJ Young Sai, DJ Derek, and DJ La Jefa. Get your tickets online right now at djrustygg.com. Sponsored by Coxper Rum, Stoli Vodka, Wicked, and Carib Beer.
Ordering from ER Fisheries has just gotten simpler. With just a few clicks of a button, you can place an order for next-day delivery or same-day pickup. Our ever-expanding list of offerings now include grocery pantry items, specialty meats, and bread and dairy items. We know things have been hard, and we're here to make planning for your next meal or party easy. Whether you're a vegetarian or a meat eater, we have what you're looking for. And best of all, it can be delivered to your door in 24 hours or less. Go to www.erfisheries.bm and check out our wide range of seafood, beef, lamb, pork, poultry, fruits, vegetables, and plant-based products, all available at reasonable prices. That's www.erfisheries.bm.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to Eugene Dean for the conversation this morning, folks. If you appreciated the conversation, the information, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share these conversations with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Thanks again to the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can do this on a daily basis. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Sherry, it's a Who Said It. Ready?
Yeah.
All righty. It's the NBA playoffs. That's your hint. Quote, the day I stopped worrying about stats is the day I started winning. End quote.
Michael Jordan, Kevin Durant. One of them, Steph Curry. Jamal. The day I stopped worrying about stats. The Guinness guy, what the guy put in the chat. What's his name?
All righty. Everyone's saying Kobe. It's not Kobe, but I will say you're close. The person was Shaquille O'Neal. But I think that that quote, you know how I feel about likes and follows and image sharing. I think that quote right there, when you stop worrying about stats and stop worrying about people liking you, you start to deliver results. You start to actually feel the results. You get to live the results. And I you know, let's be honest, Shaq in the Lakers versus Shaq in Orlando Magic, he was good. But when he got to the Lakers, that's when he started winning championships. So I would encourage people to use that quote to really focus on the results and not what makes you feel good. Sherry, let's do some final thoughts on today's show. Obviously, we started with the BTA discussion and then Eugene Dean.
Yeah, it was a lot, Jamal, in regards to what can we learn, how can we capitalize from Black Golfers event. Definitely, how can we capitalize on it? There needs to be another step. There needs to be another angle, not just one that we are putting on the stage and doing various things, but what is the angle? And we need to get to that part. As far as Eugene, it's always, a pleasure to have him on and sharing his information and his knowledge and giving us another side of COVID, pre-COVID, post-COVID, present COVID as of right now. So I always enjoy his conversation.
Yeah, indeed. I want to say, I mean, regarding the conversation about the Black celebrity event and how to capitalize and build on it, it's not as difficult as I think we make it seem. If you get the right people will share their experience on their own. You don't need to ask them. You shouldn't have to pay them. They'll do it on their own because those people want to share the experience with others. They may be those people who are all about image and likes and follows. Those may be the people you want. They're not necessarily getting anything out of it, but you definitely can. As it relates to Eugene, look, at the end of the day, I feel, being in the media space, you all know me. It's not about agreeing with people. Sherry and I had our first boxing match in quite a while, way too long. And I'm looking forward to the next one. It's not about agreeing. Seriously, it's not. It's about understanding one another. It's about, really trying to figure out, well, why does a person feel this way? What data are they using? And comparing it to yours. It's not saying that after that conversation, you're going to agree with the person. That should never be the goal. The goal, honestly, should be understanding, not agreement. However, if you do agree, maybe that's a plus. I appreciate the fact that we can have these conversations. There's no name calling, there's no shouting, there's no spitting. I appreciate that we can be honest and question each other. And my hope is that there's lessons in this for everyone. As I say all the time, Sherry, politics, both parties or all parties use the same data to tell totally different stories. I think we're right to question that whole situation. I think everyone should be questioning it. I don't think there's anything wrong with questioning. I think the problem is silence, compliance, especially when you have questions. Sherry, you've got some daily inspiration for us?
I do. Our daily inspiration is being brought to you by ER Fisheries, and it's actually from a movie. Oh, yes, the past can hurt, but the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. And that's from The Lion King.
The Lion King. I've never seen it. But don't judge. See? Anyway, look, folks, just give me the judgment eyes. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Office, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hartman, my friends. Please do make it a safe and a great day. Put those judgment eyes back in your head, Miss Vanderpool.
Wow.